Evening all. So today we're going to talk about FW 2.0. Well, where to begin? This is the new dev blog. I'll link it in the description. Go and read it. It's phenomenally interesting. So let's get stuck in. The first thing to bear in mind is obviously there's going to be the 4 races, and they're going to have a particular corporation. So, for example, the Amar Imperial Guard. Also, good luck with the lawsuit from Games Workshop there, CCP. The Imperial Guard are obviously part of the Amar. You've got State Peacekeepers. You've then got Federal Marines Republic Command. I think that's supposed to be Commandos, but I could be wrong. But yeah, you've got the 4 corporations, and what it is if you want to do FW, you will join up with one of these 4 I guess corporations, and you'll then fight exclusively for them. Now, the way this will work is if you actually fight for a particular I guess corporation, you then obviously fight against another one, so you will gain standing and then lose standing at the same time. So this here really is you're putting your lot in. So they're moving away slightly from the whole concept of the mercenary, because obviously mercenaries fight for whoever's got the money, but and you're now really going to become state troopers in a kind of weird way. Anyway, so the result will be very kind of structured, and you're basically creating an army around the races, and that's really cool. I think that's a lovely kind of feature. I think it's really enriching and deepening the whole Merc experience. Currently, I would say mercenary life is pretty fickle, and it doesn't feel, you pretty much just fight anybody at any point for any reason because of ISK, lol. And I think that's kind of okay, but I like the idea that they're now going to make it so you can actually throw your banner behind one of the major races and become almost like a paid fighter for them. So I guess it's still a mercenary in a way, but again, I love it. I think this is a really great, kind of deepening of the whole concept. In terms of the way that this will generally work, you're going to have I think it's done on a corporation level as well. So I think your corporation has to sign up. Now, they may have changed that, because obviously that's quite a difficult thing. I mean, the Unholy Legion, I think, has got 1,200 people in it now. So obviously, if we pick Minmatar, for example, that would cause a lot of trouble with a lot of other people who maybe want to run Caldari, maybe they want to run Galante or Amar lol. And I think this is going to be kind of a bit of an issue, because, again, the most important part of this is that you're fighting for these races to actually garner favour and then items from them, which we'll talk about in just one moment. So I think the races is going to be something you probably need to really think about quite cautiously. You could play all fields. You could literally just play all the fields together and see how it goes. But again, time will tell on that one. So the next point is loyalty points. No longer will you get ISK from any of the fights. I know, that's going to be strange, isn't it? But now what you're going to be able to do is to get loyalty points, which are kind of like vouchers. They're kind of like coupons. So you get your coupons from your federation, whoever it may be, and then you can cash them in for fabulous prizes. Now, the way to think of this is it's like an intergalactic Dave and Benny's. I don't know if you ever went to them. You basically play your games and you get your tickets and then you cash them in for some absolutely piece of shit toy. But in this case, you get really cool guns. So look at those guns there. Aren't they savory lovely? And that's not just all you get. You also get the ability to cash in these vouchers for equipment as well. Now, the way it'll work is obviously by running an FW, you'll lose suits and that's your loss. But you're then cashing your wins, etc., into loyalty points, which you can then get stuff. So you can even get equipment. So, for example, you're going to get things like the Imperial Visium drop uplink, which sounds intriguingly cool, and many other things. So obviously there's going to be a lot of really good kind of stuff here. Now, FW also has the problem that obviously you're not going to get obviously ISK. That's going to be part of a big kind of learning cycle. Personally, I think you're going to see people proto-stomp it and cash in the rewards they get. So I think if people are saying it's going to be blueprint only, I think you're going to be very much mistaken. As part of loyalty points, there's now going to be a third booster. Is it third? Yeah, so active and passive, and now you're going to have, and they're skill point based. You're now going to have a booster that's based upon your ability to accrue loyalty points, which I don't have an issue with. I think, CCP are in this to make money. Let's not forget that. And I think people who are kind of like, oh, lol, CCP, cashing in, they're wrong. This is actually a nice feature. So people who want to really go for it can obviously go for it. The loyalty point increase is 25%, so it's quite good, but it's the same as boosters with skill. So I would say the loyalty point addition is not a bad thing. And the way it works is you'll start to run levels. So you'll be level 1 to 10, and it's all about how many matches you win for your faction. The more you win, the more loyalty points you get, the more you kind of invest yourself, etc. So it's very much like the EVE system, where pretty much, you know, the amount of effort, quote, you invest into the concept is the more that it will then reward you. So yes, you can play the fringes, you'll never get the big bucks, whereas if you just completely dedicate yourself to the Imperial Guard, then the Emperor will bestow love upon you. So that's really the point there. So on to the next point. We then go into friendly fire. Now, friendly fire is going to be enabled for FW, which I love. I think that's really good. I'm a big proponent of FF, as we shall now coolly abbreviate it to. FF is some... Oh, God, I can't say it. FFF. Anyway, so friendly fire is something that I think is very, very annoying, but it's a lovely part of the game. It's like, you know, you can't have a game where it's literally Hello Kitty Island adventure and nothing bad ever happens and it's all lovely and you all go and have a nice cup of tea at the end of a match. You can't have that because people don't, you know, we're human beings, we thrive on conflict. Because we are basically monkeys with technology sticks, that's it. And I think you have to understand that, because the reality is that you're going to get into a position where people are going to really annoy you and you want to punish them. And I'm thinking, you know, just for example, like Thale snipers, redline tank snipers, you know, these kind of people who are just kind of massive douche lords. And I think having the ability to kind of punish them if you're on the same team as them is quite an interesting concept. Also, EVE is all about the metagame. EVE is not just a big sort of MMO where everybody loves each other and the GMs control everything with an iron fist. They don't. This is mob rule to a degree, and I think having friendly fire in this is going to be important because, you know, let's say some grudges happen and then all of a sudden Corp A or Corp B or personality A, personality B start getting grudges. They can shoot each other. They can shoot each other in the back when you least expect it, and that is an absolutely gorgeous part of the game. Now, you can't exploit this. You can't just go into a match and start shooting because you will quickly be ejected from any FW ever again, very likely, or at least for a period. You know, I think if you cause a friendly fire and you're kicked from the match, you then can no longer join a match until the next downtime, and many other things. It's going to be there to really kind of be something used in seldom. So you'd have to really hate the person to shoot them in the back of the head. And why does all of a sudden I feel that my back of my head is itching? I don't know what that's about. But I do get the impression I am probably going to be killed many, 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 many times. And do you know what? I'll laugh every single one of them, because at the end of the day, I love the game that will allow this, but also punishes it as well. So, on to another point, orbitals. It would appear that orbitals in FW are going to be removed, and they're going to be replaced with the EVE counterpart only. So you have to have a bit of a knowledge of who's in orbit, etc., etc. So this is really good. EVE pilots are also now incentivized to actually do orbitals, because they will now receive, firstly, a kill mail, and let's face it, EVE pilots are massive kill mail whores. All they care about is being able to look at that kill board and you know, pretty much suggestively touch themselves. And this is the problem with orbitals at the moment. So by giving them a kill mail, giving them also loyalty points for doing orbitals is a phenomenally clever thing to do. So really impressed with that. Orbitals are also going to be renamed. So orbitals from the Warbarge are going to be called Warbarge Strikes, and they will continue in PC and pub matches, or random matches, I guess it should be called. And FW will just have only now the EVE orbital strike, which is the proper ship-based orbital strike, and it won't be kind of instantaneous. So if you call in an orbital strike, you won't just expect somebody to kind of rain down death from, you know, at your merest flick of a wrist. It's actually going to be different. You can have multiple gang leaders with the same ship calling in an orbital, and then the ship decides what to do with it. So it's if there's a delay between pressing the button and the orbital hitting, that makes for some quite tactical, interesting situations. I'm sure people will piss and moan at that, but the reality is actually it's quite a good thing, because it's more realistic. You know, I think the fact that there's a human interaction there, where you could say, look, I need an orbital here, there's a tank here, fire. And then the guy then will say, well, okay, but yeah, this guy needs it more than you. Well, tough, you know, and I like that. I think also just the speed to hit as well means it's going to be very difficult to get lots of kills in orbitals anymore. Although, they, you know, if you've ever seen orbitals properly done by the EVE ships, they are actually a bit more potent. So, you know, the pulse laser one's particularly fun Looks like Christmas, really does. So I think really good stuff there. Salvage is going up to 25%. So every match you do, you'll get salvage from the map. So that's important because people will proto stomp this. So if you pick up 2 Devols, you've made quite a lot of money there. The player market won't be in, but it's coming soon. So I think really you're going to start accruing quite a bit of gear ready for that. So there we go. In conclusion, standing boosters are obviously quite a good thing. You've got your 4 corporations. You've got your friendly fire now switched on for FW. That's going to cause some lovely drama. And yes, if you shoot me, I will probably shoot you back because, hey, lol, I'll kill you. And you're going to have a fair bout of state and federal and republic and empirate-based equipment and guns, which are going to become, I would suggest, probably the top gun in the game. So your Federation Devol Specialist Assault Rifle is probably going to be better than normal Devol. And that's what people are going to start farming. And you can pretty much guarantee that people are going to farm FW because it's going to be pretty good. So, in conclusion, if you're not playing Dust at the moment, now is probably the time to start thinking about coming back. With things like Amiga boosters in, and with things like, all of this starts pretty much next Tuesday. So this is the 10th of December this kicks off. And I would suggest now is probably the time to get back into it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. If there is just a quick comment, squadb.com, we're going to do an article on this FW piece, so please check squadb.com and have a read of the more detailed thoughts of this. But I hope you enjoyed that. FW is looking really good, and I suggest you get involved with it. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.